Hey, what's going on, guys? I should not do this while I'm driving because I totally forgot what I just started this stream for. But that's where I have all my greatest thoughts while I'm driving. Well, let's see who's on. Maybe somebody wants to chat. Try to recall. Where the fuck is this guy going? Oh, I know what it was. Alright. Bitcoin. Okay, so libertarians and their messaging, blah, 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 blah. I'm always talking shit about their messaging. Libertarians, for the longest time, have been like, end the Fed, end the Fed, end the Fed. And they worship Ron Paul, who... hey, I worship Ron Paul too. He's fucking awesome. But they think, we're waiting for the next Ron Paul, or we're waiting for the next Ron Paul revolution, or Ron Paul to make a comeback, or, somebody who's going to come along and end the Fed. The truth is, Ron Paul's been saying end the Fed since, like, the 80s or 70s. It didn't really get popular until 2012 when he ran, and that was because of the financial meltdown, the financial crisis. It had nothing to do with, like, finally people waking up. Oh my God, no. It had to do with, at that point in time, there was a crisis going on that personally affected almost everybody, and there was nobody to point the finger at but the banks. And of course, what is the Federal Reserve but the centralized cooperative of those banks? So of course, and people were pissed off, and they were like, let's get rid of this. But right now, people aren't pissed off about the banks. The Federal Reserve is bailing us out. They're giving us trillions of dollars that we can all get in these stimulus packages and blah, 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 right? The Fed is saving us. What's the real problem with the Federal Reserve? Not that it exists, that we are forced to use their currency. And so this is something that I criticize libertarians for all the time, and I think they really need to take note. I know I need to keep reminding myself to do the same. Stop complaining about the problem. Start focusing on the solution. And Bitcoin is proof that that strategy works, because we've been saying end the Fed for 50 years. Nobody, because what can you do? You have to go to a central authority and ask them to end the Fed. You have to go to Congress and convince Congress, who, by the way, once you finally convince a congressman, well, by the time you make it to the next one, the first one's not in office anymore. It's an impossible task to actually end the Fed. But the existence of the Fed is not so much of a problem, except for the fact that we have to use their currency. And Bitcoin has solved that. Bitcoin didn't sit around saying, oh, we want to change the laws, we want to get rid of the Federal Reserve. No, they just created something and said, hey, here's something else that you could move to, that you can use. And granted, other people have tried that. They've tried gold and silver currencies, and they've ended up in prison because of it. Unjustly, of course. But Bitcoin was kind of above and beyond that. But still, that is a solution that somebody created that has totally turned the Fed upside down. People are able to use currencies now that are not associated with the Federal Reserve. Now imagine if we started doing the same thing with all these other government systems. What other government systems are there? There's property registration. Imagine you buy a house, you put it in a permanent trust, you leave it in that trust, and when you want to sell that house, you just transfer ownership of the trust. And you can do that through blockchain. The technology's there, or you can do it on paper. But the point is, you can do that without actually changing the title, and that's one of the expensive parts I mean, if you've ever bought or sold a house, it costs tens of thousands of dollars just to close. And all that money is going to lawyers and title agencies and all this other crap. And if it was just a trust, you could just sign a piece of paper and transfer something over. Or if it was just on blockchain, you could do something like that. So there's all these other systems out there, and we should almost stop complaining about how shitty the government is and just create something better in so many different ways. And I get it, you can't really do that with like the police, right? Because if they're coming and kicking in your door, you can't just ignore that they're there. But you can create private security forces like they did in, what's it called? I think it was Detroit. I can't remember the name of the company, but they created a private security company. And they sold insurance, which included security. Do stuff like that, guys. Use your brain, figure it out, figure out how to do it, and make it happen. Because honestly, this kind of stuff is going to go so much further than just raw activism. Because what is activism if it's not just begging for permission? We have to abandon the system that they want us to play. We have to stop asking for permission, and we have to start living like free individuals. We take their power away by doing that. We take their power away. It's the best way to do it. It's the most effective way to do it. Food for thought. Chew on that one, guys. I'll catch you later. Taxation is theft.